The Redmi Note 10S is the Redmi Note 10 but with a different and better processor, a better camera and more memory in some cases. It is almost impossible to distinguish this device from the regular Redmi Note 10, except of course for the exclusive ocean blue color this newer Redmi Note 10S came in. The Redmi Note 10S is however closer to the Redmi Note 10 Pro in price than the Redmi Note 10. Are the camera and processor improvements good enough to make you buy this Redmi Note 10S instead of the Pro model? What's up guys, it's Victor here again. In this video, I will unbox and review the Redmi Note 10X, a smartphone that looks and feels like the regular Redmi Note 10 but has the processor and capabilities of the Redmi Note 10 Pro. I have timestamps in the description as always. Please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified the next time and every other time I post a new video like this one. The Redmi Note 10 Pro comes in a compact familiar box. We have the 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs ROM variant, and this color is called Ocean Blue. In the box, we have the phone itself, then an envelope housing a user manual, a safety guide, a warranty card, and a TPU protective soft case. In the compartment below, we get a USB-C to USB-A cable with an orange accent, and finally there is a 33 watts fast charger. The Note 10S has a 6.4 inches 60Hz AMOLED display housing a 13 megapixel front-facing camera in a centered punch hole. It is a full HD display and has a display density of 409 ppi. Unlike the Pro model with Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and back, the Note S have Gorilla Glass 3 on the front and plastic on the back. Regardless, the phone feels like a well-built device. It's sturdy and easy to handle because of the curved and rounded edges. One-handed use is also simple because it's only 6.4 inches in size. The back has a matte finish and it doesn't show fingerprints so much. The camera bump is also rounded and looks nice. It's housing a 64-quad camera system and an LED flashlight. To the right of the device are the volume rockers and power button that doubles as the fingerprint sensor. The bottom has a headphone jack, one of 2 microphones, a USB-C port, and one of 2 loudspeakers. That means we have a dual stereo speaker setup here. The left has the SIM and memory card tray capable of holding 2 nano SIMs and 1 memory card. The top has the second loudspeaker, an IR blaster, which is something we now only see from Xiaomi and Huawei. Finally, there is the second microphone for noise cancellation. As mentioned earlier, the Redmi Note 10S has a 60Hz display. This will be a deal breaker, especially for people that have not experienced a high refresh rate before. The display performs very well in terms of color accuracy when the phone is set to the standard color scheme within the display settings. The display also gets bright enough for outdoor usage and peaks out at 1100 nits. The screen here is an AMOLED screen, so you get all the goodness of an AMOLED panel, including deep blacks and the ability to use the always-on display feature. The side-mounted fingerprint sensor on the Redmi Note 10 Pro works well, but it's not the fastest in this price segment. It's also accurate most of the time. The Redmi Note 10S comes with a MediaTek Helio G95. It comes with an option of 64 or 128 gigs of storage and 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. During everyday usage, the phone feels happy and cheerful, treating everything you put at it like ice cream. It is snappy and responsive, opening and closing apps, multitasking, and overall system navigation were smooth. However, things become a little bit messy when you start gaming. I noticed some frames dropping and some lags while at it. Also, the phone tends to get heated really quickly while playing games. The battery here is a 5000 mAh battery with 33 watts fast charging capability. The battery life here is good, and because it has a 60Hz display, you can get up to 2 days of modest phone usage from this battery. Charging takes about an hour to get to 100%. The Redmi Note 10S comes with MIUI 12.5 out of the box on top of Android 11. This is an interim version of MIUI 12.5 because it lacks some of the features of the final release, like the ability to uninstall unwanted apps and bloatware. Talking about unwanted stuff and bloat, I noticed the number of unwanted apps and bloats that came with this device or any typical Redmi device like this out of the box has been reduced drastically. But you still get a sufficient amount though, some of which you can't uninstall. Out of the box, the Note 10S, just like other Redmi and Xiaomi phones, is set to install apps on the home screen. But you can enable the separate app drawer if you prefer the more traditional method. Out of the box too, the phone comes with a traditional notification and quick toggle slide screen. But you can enable a new style, which is basically a ripoff of the iOS control center and notification screen. Swiping down from the left side of the home screen will open your notifications, while swiping from the right side will open the control center. The Redmi Note 10S has a pair of stereo speakers as mentioned earlier, the bottom firing speaker and the top firing speaker. Sound is also produced from the earpiece grill, making the total number of audio outputs on this device 3. The bottom speaker is louder than the rest of the bunch and the sound is of an average quality, nothing spectacular. The Redmi Note 10S has a quad camera setup at the back, consisting of a 64 megapixel wide camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Stabilization is done electronically and not optically. The rear camera can shoot videos up to 4K at 30 frames per second, while the front-facing 13 megapixel camera can only get to 1080p at 30 frames per second. You also have a pro mode for pictures and videos here. These are samples from the back and front cameras of the Redmi Note 10S. This is a video from a selfie camera of the Redmi Note 10S, and it looks good. I'm turning around right now to see how it handles dynamic range, and oh boy, not really fantastic, I must say, but it's a decent phone for the price. So what do you think about the video quality and the audio of the Redmi Note 10S? Let me know in the comments below. In the end, I don't see why this model should be preferred over the other two, which are the Redmi Note 10 and Redmi Note 10 Pro. Overall, the cheaper Redmi Note 10 is a better value for money, while the somewhat more expensive Redmi Note 10 Pro has greater features and performance. Most of the competition for the Redmi Note 10S comes from traction phones like the Infinix Note 10 Pro and the slightly more expensive Tecno Camon 17 Pro. Both of those devices come with a 90Hz high refresh rate display, even though they share a lot of their specs in common. Specs like the Helio G95 5000 mAh battery, Android 11, and they are even priced very similarly to each other. However, the Note 10S from Redmi shines when it comes to display and software. It has an AMOLED panel and a UI that is more refined and more likely to get an OS upgrade or revamp. In that respect, the Redmi Note 10S exists solely to serve as a decoy or trap, as there are few reasons to choose it over the other two. It's clever marketing gimmick or strategy to improve the processor and add more megapixel count to the back camera. But if your budget will allow you, it is a good device. Please subscribe if you're not and like this video, share it, leave a comment in the comment section below. I can't wait to see your comments. I will see you when I see you in the next one. Peace.